we started the band, I mean, it was not like we wanted to create something we totally were into. We never felt like we wanted to sound like a band we like. Just wanted to do music and bring together different ideas about what music could be like. That kind of created the sound of Holygram. So for example, we have a drummer who's totally into krautrock, and we have a guitar player who's into shoegaze, and we just brought all these different ideas into one room and created something from that, and not so much from the idea of a certain sound we wanted to copy. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I never considered myself to be a goth person, but I think that certain ideas that come from the goth scene attract me. But on the other hand, I have this idea that a song has to work and that you might even sing along, and that's, I guess, the poppy side of what we're doing. And so, yeah, if you want to name it, you could say it's a goth pop band that makes you sing along while you're very sad. For sad, yeah, maybe. For sad people, I like, I watched a movie once. It was about a boy growing up in Ireland, and he was into lots of stuff. And at some point, he was totally into The Cure. And someone said, like, it's happy, sad music, And I think that's a very interesting point, because for someone outside, when you mention The Cure, it's always like, okay, that's this goth band that's very sad and so on. But when you listen to The Cure, they have so many happy songs and so many funny songs. And I think that Robert Smith is a very funny guy in the end. So you can't really say that goth music is always sad. And I think that a lot of goth people actually love quite a lot. So I don't know if goth music is for sad people, but it's for people who like to dwell in sad feelings from time to time, but also like happy moments. Yeah, Maurizio. Yeah, he's an Italian producer. Yeah, I think that he started working with Louis from the Soft Room quite a while ago. I think they worked on Deeper for the first time, and we totally liked the music of the Soft Room, even the stuff he did before he worked with Maurizio. But when we started working on the album and we tried to find the sound for the album, we came across Maurizio because we wanted someone from the outside to help us capture what we wanted to create. When we recorded the EP like 2 years ago, or maybe it's 2.5 years ago, we did all that by ourselves. So we had our own studio, we produced everything ourselves and so on, and it worked out quite well for us. But for the album we wanted something else, and we wanted someone who might bring in something we couldn't capture ourselves. So that's why we ended up on Maurizio, because we felt like he was the right person, and I think it was like that. It's a perfect fit. I mean, we totally loved working with him. It's still like we recorded ourselves. It's not like we gave it away, but in the end we had someone who kind of added something to the sound we already captured ourselves. So, and that's maybe what you say, what you call professional production. It's not so much DIY anymore, because the EP was DIY in the end. I mean, it was a DIY recording and everything. We even released it on tape first, because we didn't have a record label and so on. So I think that the LP is, as you say, a professional production. All the songs were redone. I mean, we recorded everything again in the studio, but of course we didn't want it to sound totally different from the EP. I mean, we still are very happy about the sound of the EP. It's not like we wanted to change totally, but we wanted something different, and at least a little bit different, more similar to what we're doing on live shows. We wanted to capture our live sound because we felt more convinced by the live sound, and that's where Maurizio came in, and he kind of created this feeling for us. So in the mixing we mixed the old recordings and the new recordings. So it's kind of a mixture of both. On the EP? Yeah, we from the very beginning we thought like we wanted something outstanding. We didn't want to deal with the symbols that are used all the time. So we ended up on this very talented photographer from Bali, Utah, and we asked him if he wanted to contribute his photo. And it's actually him. He projected himself into this scenery. And the EP, when we recorded the EP, the main idea behind it was to have a portrait of a city we were living in. So it's Cologne. We are all coming from Cologne, and we wanted to capture this sound and this feeling, what it is about to live in a city like Cologne, or you can also say like any big city in the world. And the floating person on the cover is, of course, someone who enters a new world. It's like some new beginning, someone who isn't familiar with what he is entering. And I think that on the album this gets even clearer because you have this person entering the city. You know, the EP is more like a beginning, a leaving, and the LP is the first arrival on some kind of journey that we're doing with the band. No, I haven't talked about the animation yet. So yeah, the idea behind Affection is what like pulls us out into the city at night. Why do we like walk around, and you know, this kind of feeling like when you're walking in the streets and it's like dark and there's nobody in the street and you just have the street lights, and you feel kind of lonely, but you also feel like you're somewhere. You know, it's not feeling lost, but to be part of something. And we wanted to capture that in the song itself, but also in the video, and we chose a character that's maybe not even so familiar with this whole post-punk new wave scene. So we chose a skater who's like skating in the streets of Cologne, and most of the time he's all alone, and he's like the only person in this city. And we worked with a very talented French animation artist, Alison Flora, who did these very beautiful animations, and she kind of transferred the idea of the song into these pictures, in these quite surreal pictures. Yeah, in Signals, the message behind the song is the lack of communication. So like when you're in a relationship and at some point you stop talking to each other, you know, you're still talking, of course, like every day and so on, but you don't feel like you're really connected to this person anymore. And that's what Signals is about. And for the video we worked with a Cologne artist, Christian Keinstar, who works with lead, actually, who does this really crazy lead sculptures. And he came up with this idea to use a lead mask, and he put it on me. So I'm in the video with this mask that totally isolates you from the world, but which is also toxic. You know, you have on the one hand you have this this feeling that you're not connected to the world, but it's also toxic, because if you keep this mask on for too long, you're most likely gonna die, because you breathe in this lead whatever stuff. Yeah. I was laughing when you wrote. I read the questions already. I was laughing because I think you're the first one who actually noticed. I think not even the band knows that it's a quote from Neuromancer. Yeah, right. It is, of course. You know, there is this one scene where he's talking about the port and the sky. There's this one scene where he talks about the port and that the sky is like a dead channel. I totally love this picture, and the funny thing about Dead Channel Skies is that before we recorded the song, Dead Channel Skies was always part of Signals, but we felt like, okay, we maybe should cut it and make something, create a new track out of it, because it's really different. But let's get back to this pop aspect, you know. Signals is the pop song and Dead Channel Skies is the antipode of pop, because it hits you right in the face, and I feel like it's like a black hole that pulls everything that was poppy in Signals into it and destroys it until there's nothing anymore. So while I was searching for a title for the song, I came across this quote from Neuromancer, and I felt like it was a perfect title, Dead Channel Skies, because I feel like the sky is open and it's like, you know, dead, actually. Yeah, I love that series. One of my favorite episodes. I love this episode, especially because it's one of the few episodes where there is a kind of a happy end, and you don't feel like, okay, shit, all that shit is gonna happen to us at some point. It's really sad. So, Modern Cults is the title track of the album, and it was supposed to capture the noise of a city. You know, when you enter a city maybe for the first time and you don't know what to expect. That's also, Modern Cults always comes with the intro of the album, Into the Void, you know, like when you're entering and you have all these kind of sounds and then it hits you like really in the face suddenly, and that's what Modern Cults is about. I feel like it's a lost person that is kind of walking around in the streets searching for a connection, you know, searching for someone who understands and who makes this person feel at home. And that's what a modern cult for me could be, you know, like I don't know, like a musical movement where you suddenly feel like, okay, I'm part of this techno scene, and it makes me feel good or whatever, you know. It's like a sect kind of. And 1997, yeah, it's the outro of the record. It's when you, after having all these feelings, go out in the street and reflect on everything that has happened, and maybe that is kind of like also lost. It's pretty cool. I mean, we met Ronan first time when we were on tour with OMD last year, and he saw us in Hamburg and we talked briefly, and after that he had the idea that we could do this tour together, and we're super happy because it brings together two different wings of the scene, you know, and I think that's kind of really important also to not always move in your little bubble and listen to the same stuff all over again and again. I mean, that's an idea that is also part of this band, to not sound the same all the time, to have lots of different sources and bring it all together. And I think the pairing with VNV Nation is exactly what Holygram is about, to combine people and to bring people together and to maybe introduce them to new stuff. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's not like we're millionaires. I mean, it's not like I think maybe in the 80s it would have been crazy. Maybe it could have worked out, but I mean, now we're happy that we're touring and that we're having fun and that we're meeting lovely people all around the world, and I think that's cool. It makes you quite sad all the time, but also happy. The US tour is crazy. I mean, come on. It's the first time that we go to the US, and it's such a great opportunity to play in front of so many people. And for the first time, I mean, if we did it on ourselves, I guess we would play in front of as many people on the whole tour as we play in front of at one show. So yeah, it's perfect. I mean, we love it, and it's great.